On the morning of May 20, 1980, a fire of unknown origin razed the Myers ward at the Eventide Home for the Aged on Slipen Road, Kingston 5. The Myers ward was an old wooden building constructed during the late 19th century Jamaica, so it had quickly surrendered to the fire. Welcome back to Elite Jamaica, the place you come to learn about Jamaica and Jamaicans. If it's your first time joining me here, consider subscribing to the channel by clicking that red subscribe button. And do remember to turn on notifications by clicking the bell icon so you never miss any of my updates. About 153 old women, permanent residents of Eventide assigned to live on Myers ward, lost their lives in the early morning blaze. The joint team of firefighters from Kingston and the neighboring parish of St. Andrew managed to keep the fire from spreading to the rest of the home. Afterwards, they recovered 144 charred bodies from beneath the rubble. Myers ward had been reduced to metal rods, zinc sheets, and ashes. A few days later, 2 more women who had suffered severe burn injuries during the fire died at the Kingston Public Hospital on North Street, increasing the number of dead found to 146 persons. Myers ward was home to about 211 elderly women when the fire broke out, and only 58 of that number escaped alive. The 7 women who were not found in the rubble after the fire remained missing and were eventually presumed dead. The loss caused by the fire was estimated at $150,000 Jamaican dollars. The government agency responsible for the upkeep of the home, the Kingston and St. Andrew Corporation, that's KSAC, announced that whether Eventide was repaired or rebuilt at a new location, it would be too costly for the government. One opinion on the cause of the fire argued that it was the result of political maneuvering during the final months leading up to the most violent general elections in Jamaica's recent history. The conspiracies didn't stop in Jamaica either, from allegations of the Central Intelligence Agency, that's the CIA, involvement to the Reichstag. The heated political landscape, however, quickly overshadowed the disaster. There were in fact a number of reports to the police from persons living at the home that gunmen had entered the premises more than once, claiming they had come to kill the staff and inmates for reasons connected with their alleged political affiliations. Moreover, gunmen besieged the premises of the home just 6 months after the fire, and this time injured 2 persons. One of them, Mr. Harold Telfer, a meal van driver for the home, was stabbed and then beaten while unloading the meal van. The other victim of this recent attack on the home was a 63-year-old female resident, Miss Vera Winter. Miss Winter was sitting on the veranda taking a little fresh air, as she said, when gunmen opened fire on the premises, hitting her several times. Eventide had opened on July 1st, 1870. It was built specifically for elderly women, but eventually opened its doors to destitute, crippled, and handicapped old men and children. In its first year of operation, Eventide housed about 160 women and was maintained by the poor rates of the KSAC. In 1943, following the labor riots of 1938 and the consequent struggle for universal adult suffrage, which was achieved in 1944, the resident population of Eventide grew to 968. By 1980, the year of the fire, the population numbered 700, a slight decrease. Of this number, 211 resided on Myers ward, all of them elderly women. The staff at the time numbered 180 and was led by Mr. David E. Dunkley, master of the home. Eventide has always been plagued with problems. These ranged from want of adequate funding, poor living conditions, underpaid and sometimes insufficiently trained staff, to vandalism and of course lack of security. A little after the mid-1970s, the government began showing greater interest in addressing the deplorable conditions at the home. But shortly after that, other crises of national importance took over the government's attention, namely the declining economic situation. Consequently, Eventide was put aside until after the elections of 1980, after the fire. However, even then, none of the recommendations of the technical committee set up to suggest measures to restructure the home were put into effect. and Eventide itself dropped out of existence somewhere in the mid-1980s. The victims were buried in a mass grave, and a memorial constructed in their honor at the National Heroes Park in Kingston. The fire at Eventide was not the biggest in the history of Jamaica, but it took the most lives. The women who died in that fire were victims of a country trying to reposition its political identity, as was unfortunately common in small countries like Jamaica. This process of change was marred by much violence and bloodshed. None of the women at Eventide deserved the type of death they received, and along with other sad events of 1980, the fire is indeed a significant part of our political history. Thank you so much for joining us again. If you found this video interesting or informative, please do remember that you can subscribe to Elite Jamaica for more videos like these. And if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Until we meet again here on Elite Jamaica, take care and stay blessed.